Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to our channel here at Underdeveloped, and today we have something a little different. We're going back to our podcast format. Today we have another one for you. We're talking about stuff that we've kind of been talking about for a while now. Just with the state of the industry, everything, it's only right to talk about this kind of stuff. Yes. Essentially, we're talking about basically the streaming's era effect on the film industry. Is it hurting the film industry? Is it supplementing the film industry? Is it replacing the film industry?
Mm-hmm. We did the research. We have numbers to back us up.
A bunch of numbers.
We spent a lot of time just gathering data so that we can actually form a cohesive hypothesis as to what's happening. Because so many people are saying, "Oh, theaters are dying. Oh no, theaters are so this movie's booming. This and that."
Yeah, I mean theaters. Definitely, or like 2010s was like a boom. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely. Mainly
propelled by Disney with like the MCU, where so much was making $1 billion plus.
And those dumbass Disney live action remakes
that made all make it big. The Fast and Furious was like a huge franchise heavy era.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
It was the most profitable era in film history.
Yeah, because you have so much multi-billion-dollar films. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then Jurassic World, that franchise. So it's like it was
big
an
money
era
there.
Of like be a big billion-dollar franchise. You know what I mean? Like there's a bunch of franchises. Wasn't that big for like the 90s had a specific era where you could make these like art pieces. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. These like more you could get a somewhat known actor. A good script, maybe you could probably do like a adaptation of a book or something, but essentially you could do these more riskier films, these riskier mid budgets, these $20 to $50 million films, and you can make a good profit off that.
Yeah,
and that's allowed so much. That's why the 90s like one of the best eras. Because it was like making these indie style movies and they were making good money. You have films like Shawshank Redemption. You have films like Silence of the Lambs. You had films like Good Will Hunting. You had films like As Good as It Gets. You have all these fucking films. In Pelican Case, Philadelphia. All these kind of films wouldn't make Sleepless in Seattle, Forrest Gump. Like these films wouldn't be making.
Yeah, they would be making the money.
They would be making 6 cents. These films made like $600 million. Like,
yeah,
dude, like you wouldn't be like nowadays. Those kind of films you couldn't make those because they wouldn't make any money. You know what I mean?
My speculation is that Marvel's trained an entire generation of people to just expect to see the big thing. Oh, I want to go see. Oh, I want to go see the Star Wars. I want to go see the Marvel. I don't want to go see outside my zeitgeist.
Exactly, and I have grown-up friends that are like that too. They only will go to theaters to see like a Marvel movie because anything else. So if you add a streamer on top of that, the streamer now what they did is that they decided to make those kind of movies like this ones, like those kind of mid budgets, those kind of lower quality films. Not lower quality films, like there's more like indie-ish kind of films. We're gonna put down streaming. Either as original or not too long after. So then it's like, especially with inflation, it's like, well, I want to waste $20-$30 to go to the theater when I could just wait a little bit or just watch it up on streaming.
Yeah. And even then, most like damn near all the movies that make it to theater are on streaming. Sometimes as little as a month after.
Because in the DVD era, it was like 6 months, like a year until you see that shit on DVD.
Yeah. So we all knew. Hey, we wanted to see this. If we want to see this now's the time.
Yeah.
It's not like we're just waiting a month, because what's a month? Nothing. A month is no time to wait at all.
Exactly.
For most things.
That case is worth saving your money and just watching it a month later.
And those are things that we've always speculated about, like, because all this is very true. Yeah. But is this actually affecting the industry?
Exactly.
That's something we're trying to.
Yeah, because the whole thing in 2010 is essentially like the idea that essentially, the film has to be a big set thing. You know what I mean? For us to want to have to go see. I used to think like that. I'm like, what's the point of seeing like an indie film? You know what I mean? I don't want to see that. I want to see the exciting, big budget thing, superhero thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Sci-fi thing. And those are the kind of franchise things. You know what I mean? And that's what killed it, because they made it killed the movie star, which was an anchor for those kind of mid-tier budget movies. Because you take these somewhat original ideas or obscure, abstract ideas, and you could put a star on it, and you could guarantee that, almost guarantee that it'll make a strong profit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Nowadays, that's a huge fucking risk.
It is. Nowadays, we're more focused on brands and intellectual properties. Like things like a Christopher Nolan movie would make money because Christopher Nolan has become a brand in of itself. The actors themselves are also brands in themselves, but they're not pulling individually as much money as you would think. Even successful actors like Timothy Chalamet is not always guaranteed a huge success.
Yeah,
Bones and All was
did not make
not.
any money.
Yeah,
He's doing well now, but look at the movies he's done. Dune, based off of a very famous book,
Wonka.
with a huge director behind it and a whole cast. Wonka, based off Willy Wonka, legendary. They made the 2-3 movies off it. Also a famous book. You know what I mean? It has IP attached to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
He may propel it a little bit, but overall, he's not really something purely original.
Yes, these are all things people would have gone to see without him. You could have recasted him, and people would have seen them.
People would have seen a Bob Dylan movie. People would have seen many things.
Yeah. Like, he tried to make Mario Supreme a big thing, but the sales numbers just didn't really match the expectation.
I think it got a little better now because it went international.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I'm sure it's better now than it was, but still, like, he was like with the marketing campaign he had for that, he was expecting
149. Yeah, the kind of marketing campaign he has, I agree. Like it'll be something humongous. Like he was expecting 300, 400 million because that was how big. Like but what if you have like a movie, like the movie star of a movie, doing a whole press campaign? You know what I mean? For you know what I mean? Like this movie with, and he doesn't expect it to make a certain amount of money.
Exactly, they always do. Like Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, they knew Deadpool was going to make tons of money.
And he did.
They knew that. And with Timothy Chalamet, like, he took a risk. He thought he was going to make that kind of money. Well, maybe not that kind of money, but still a lot of money.
At this point,
it's not nearly enough.
It's at least near profit because it's closing at 150, which is good for a $60-70 million movie.
Yes.
But still, he thought he was going to make real money.
Yeah, given the campaign he had, I was expecting at least $6 million, at least. I was 600 million. I mean, that's
a lot. I would expect at least 350, like 300, 350, like
bare minimum.
It went from 300 to 400,
but not even that.
With that kind of press behind it, I think it's going to shatter records, 100%, hundreds of millions of dollars in sales. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yes.
And that's kind of like what I was thinking, because that's just
That's what you would think, given everything we saw. But it's like, oh, you can say, oh, well, failed because the movie was bad, because the movie wasn't even bad. It was actually really good.
It was the top 10 movie of the year. I'm pretty sure it got nominated for an Oscar, and you know what I mean, like it had a studded cast in that.
Yeah,
a really good cast. You know what I mean, like, and it was popular. People wanted to see it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Like, again, its ticket sales aren't like atrocious or nothing, but not nearly enough to justify the expenses for all that marketing. Definitely not.
Oh, yeah. So let's get into some facts. Okay, so let's start off with Netflix. Netflix expects to spend in the neighborhood of $18 billion in cash-owned content in 2025. Well, that passed.
Yeah.
And then it ended in 2024 with 301.6 million paid members globally. So that means Netflix, by the end of 2024, ended with 301.6 million paid.
Mm-hmm.
Accelerated growth from 2023. And it translates to now over 700 million people who are watching Netflix content.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Netflix is in about 40% of connected TV households around the world and has captured 6% of its addressable market. Netflix still represents less than 10% of total viewing for the fourth quarter of 2024.
No, that's a different sentence.
Netflix represents less than 10% of total TV viewing. Oh, it's not that bad. And for the fourth quarter of 2024, Netflix reported 18.9 million net worth global subscribers. And it also raised 2025 outlook for revenue to be between 43.5 billion and 44.5 billion, up to 500 million from previous guidance, which would be up 11.5 to 14% versus last year. And Netflix revenue for the last full year of 2024 was 39 billion and a 16% increase in 2023. This growth was driven by a record-breaking 19 million new paid members in the fourth quarter, bringing the total number of global supporters to over 302 million. Netflix spent an estimated 17 billion on content in 2024, which was roughly the same amount as in 2023.
Yes. And from these statistics, we are seeing that Netflix is making big moves. Netflix is doing very well for itself. Streaming, of course, everyone knows that streaming is big and that Netflix is a big platform, but now these are the numbers that kind of prove that. that it is as big as we think. That it is as big as we think it is. I think in my mind I do picture it as being even bigger than it actually is. You put the numbers down on paper, because in my mind it's like, oh, everyone has Netflix, everyone watching stuff on Netflix. But then when you realize, like, oh yeah, because like everyone's sharing their passwords, the amount of active subscribers are actually less than you would expect because of that password sharing. You know, like who doesn't share their Netflix password with someone?
Oh, hell
exactly.
yeah.
We've all done that. Well, we all actively do that. It's a very normal thing to do.
It's some subscriber count. So YouTube has over 2.4 billion users. Go figure. It's everything. Amazon Prime Video has 230 million users. Disney Plus has 117. Max has 110. Paramount has 79 million users, and Hulu has 50 million users. Apple TV Plus has $45 million. Peacock users. And Peacock has its 41 million users. Crunchyroll has 17 million users.
Mm-hmm. So lots and lots of people have access to these streaming services. Some are, I feel like some of these numbers are a little larger than I expect. Some are a little smaller than I'd expect. In my research, I discovered that Peacock has actually been stagnating for like a couple of years now. They've been at that 41 million user number more or less for like pretty much most of its existence. So they're most likely. So if they're increasing any budget at all for anything, they are losing money.
Yeah.
Frankly, because like all these other ones because all the bigger ones are just doing a whole lot more. Like Paramount is actually more than I expected. I did not expect it to be damn near 80 million people. I expected that to be like down here. Some of these, to be honest. Yeah. I don't. But hey, Paramount Plus doing good for itself, and of course HBO Max, Disney, Prime, and Netflix are dominating because of fucking course they are. They're the big ones.
Yeah. But I think it's Amazon Prime connected to Amazon Prime. You know what I mean? That
definitely boosts it because I doubt most of those people watching got it for Prime Video.
Yeah, no.
I'm sure most of them got it for the other benefits that Prime has, which Prime has a lot of benefits. But this number here, I'm pretty sure it's like an estimated. I got this from an article that estimated the total of how many of the Amazon Prime subscriber base uses Prime Video regularly. So in that number they gave me 230. And yeah, like if you look at some more of these numbers, like in 2024, Amazon Prime Video earned $13.5 billion, and which is not as much as they spent on video and music content in that year. They actually spent $19.6 billion. So they lost money in 2024, which is fine for Amazon because Amazon makes all the fucking money. They almost certainly supplement that with their other profits So Amazon's doing good for themselves. Disney Plus is estimated to have earned $10 billion in its fiscal year of 2024, which is a lot less than how much Disney as a whole company spent on content, being almost $23.5 billion. And of course, total expenses are a lot even higher than that. Disney's a massive, massive corporation. It takes like over $80 billion to run. How does anyone have this money?
No, huge amounts.
Mm-hmm.
Apple does not report specific earnings for Apple TV Plus, but estimates suggest that the service is not profitable. Here, losing over $1 billion in 2023, Apple TV Plus revenue is a small part of its larger scale segment, which generated $26.3 billion in revenue for the 2024 fiscal year. Apple reportedly spent approximately $4.5 billion on content for Apple TV Plus in 2024, a lot, a decrease of about $500 million from previous years.
Mm-hmm. Paramount Plus's parent company, Paramount Global, has not provided a separate revenue figure for just the Paramount Plus streaming service. It's for the record, but it has reported that its, quote, direct-to-customer DTC revenue, which does include Paramount Plus, was about $7.6 billion, which is an increase from its previous year. Again, I'm not sure what else this includes on top of Paramount Plus, but Paramount Plus is involved, so it's a bit of an iffy number, but it's the best number I was able to find.
Fair enough.
Paramount Global as a whole spent $15.1 billion on content, but as we just said, its it has listed its DTC, direct to consumer, as a different statistic than its theatrical stuff. So that alone, their Paramount Pluses or anything else like that, that budget for that was about $6 billion of its $15.1 billion spending, which I'm supposing the rest goes for movies. Like, I'm sure, like Paramount releases a lot of movies. I know those Mission Impossibles are very expensive. I'm sure that's probably part of that number. In 2024, HBO Max has quote, earned over $10 billion in revenue. That's a direct quote taken from its president, the president of the person at the head of HBO Max at the moment. That's it's not a direct figure by any means, but it's what the person in charge says, and that's the only number we have on that. So it's a figure you'll have to take with a bit of salt, but it's what's available. A lot of these corporations are a lot easier with making shit available than others, and a lot of them are very, very cagey, which is why you never get direct numbers on how many episodes a streaming service show will gather. Like, they never really get specific figures unless they have the Nielsen ratings. Those are the only times we get exact figures to see how well shows really are doing next to each other.
Yeah.
Is when they hit that specific chart. Everything else, it's all just up in the air, it's speculation, it's about what you can perceive. And now things are not looking so good for Peacock over here, because Peacock makes its earnings of nearly $5 billion in 2024, which I'm assuming is probably an uptick because I'm sure their prices likely went up that year. But Peacock had lost $6 billion in 2024 because that's how much they've been spending on their content. Because of course they have.
Throughout the year, Peacock's paid subscriber count has stagnated at 41 million. Apple TV is estimated to have over 45 million paid subscribers, though no official number is given by Apple. Mm-hmm. Amazon Prime has over 205 million paid subscribers, though no separate number is provided for Prime Video, especially same with Twitch Prime.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. As of March 2025, over 125 million gave a paid subscription to YouTube Premium. In 2019, theaters sold over 1.2 billion tickets are in U.S. and Canada. 2024, tickets sold 123 million, paid over 125 million a gave.
That's a word. That's the word that was used in the thing. So
125 million gave a paid subscription for YouTube Premium. In 2019, theaters sold about 1.2 billion tickets in the U.S. and Canada. In 2024. In 2024, their theaters sold over 760 million tickets in the U.S.
Yeah, which is the second highest year since 2019, with the highest so far being 2023.
Yep.
Which I'm assuming Barbenheimer is why that was the highest.
Yeah,
frankly.
yeah. Because I was those two huge things, and that kind of shows you can use social media as a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like social media accounts. A lot of these companies are doing that now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have seen uptick in movies doing that. We saw Deadpool Wolverine do that. We saw Superman do that a little bit. We have seen more examples of movies doing that same approach and profiting of it, though not to Barbenheimer levels of success, but still maintaining respectful amounts of success, more or less.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, in 2020 was the lowest year we've had since before 1980, because the earliest figure I managed to get was from 1980 of how many tickets were sold in the US and Canada, which 2020 only reached 220 million, which is a far cry from the 1.2 billion of 2019. How much that 1 year difference was, wow. And thankfully 2020, by the time 2021 happened, that was already doubled with 444 million tickets sold. 2022 damn near doubled it again with over 700 million. In 2023, giving us the closest we've been to those original 1.2 billion ticket sales with over 930 million. Not a crazy far off from 2019's number, frankly. Because of all the news you're hearing about theaters are dying, I was expecting much lower ticket sales numbers than this. And of course, 2024, 2025, not as high as 2023, but still, we're firmly above 700 for both years.
Yeah.
That's good. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. It's a step in the right direction.
Yeah. So ticket sales are not because for all the things that people say, but the theaters are dying, about how expensive everything is to get your ticket, and then also to get all your snacks and stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, that doesn't seem to be stopping that many people, because again, we are seeing a lot of people buy all these tickets. Now, if we move from ticket numbers to film revenue numbers, we are told that we actually get a similar story. Because in 2019, fucking the film industry earned damn near $12 billion. Well, well, it's closer to 11.5. $11.3 billion, more or less, as a rounding estimate. Of course, the highest grossing movie that year was Avengers Endgame. But in 2020, again, they only earned about $2 billion, which would sound a whole lot of money if you weren't comparing it to the fucking 5-6 times number that the previous year got. That's a massive dip. Bad Boys for Life made the most money that year, but it wasn't enough to save 2020 theaters. COVID hit way too hard. And of course, the following years did continue to grow, with 2023 earning the highest amount since, with $8.9 billion. And in 2024, setback is about $8.5 billion, and 2025 is not super far off from that, which the number I had when I wrote this was about $7.6 billion. I know the number is higher now, because time passed since I originally wrote this note. So it is I'm pretty sure it is over the $8 billion line. So again, we're getting some pretty stable numbers over the last 3 years. That's actually a lot better than I was expecting. That's actually good. So so from this alone, can we really determine that streaming is actually hurting the film industry, at least by that much? Because the numbers are now stable from the last couple years. Yeah, and they're all pretty high.
So they're getting better, and we're in the middle of the problem that we're in the middle of another indie boom. So a lot of mainstream sucks, and nobody really wants to watch that. You know
That's true.
But the thing about other movies is so small that it may not grow.
Mm-hmm.
But if it can get to a certain level with that small budget, they're gonna start taking more chances on these kind of movies.
Yeah.
So it's really, it all depends on who's watching what.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's true. Because A24 continues to break records consistently with their big releases, like Civil War and Everything Ever All at Once both made a fuck ton of money.
Yeah.
At least by their numbers.
Of course, 10, 15 million and $100 million is like,
yeah.
Hey, dude, that's quite a massive success.
That's a great profit.
Excellent.
Of course, it doesn't. It's not going to earn hasn't earned the same kind of money as an Avengers movie would have, but still, Avengers has a much bigger budget for those movies, so they need to be more successful. While with A24 in more independent movies like those, they have smaller budgets, so their records for success are a lot lower. It's easier for them to succeed, and a lot of them have been succeeding, and it's really good.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely a step in their directions. Can I say it's as good as it was? Hell no.
Yeah. No. Things have not been the same as 2019, and it remains to be seen if things ever can really fully go back. I still don't think it'll ever go back to quite that amount, at least not in the near future, but it doesn't mean that's completely out of the realm of possibility, because again, in 2023, the difference is not massive. $11 billion in 2019 and damn near $9 billion in 2023. Look at those numbers. That's pretty similar. So that tells me that we do have that kind of. Now, at the very least, we have the potential to be in the same ballpark as we used to be. And of course, just because, I'm sorry, we do still have movies making money. In 2025, we can actually name quite a few movies that made big money. I think because Lilo and Stitch, unfortunately, made money. Mm-hmm. Minecraft made money. Zootopia made money. But K-pop Demon Hunters was so successful on Netflix that they gave a theatrical run a month after it came out. So anything that earned the theaters extra money they weren't expecting to get.
Yeah.
Like we do have examples of movies still consistently doing very good. So I don't think it's actually fair to say that streaming is hurting the film industry, at least not by a significant amount. Because, like, we do have all these ideas, these things, like, oh, streaming's doing this, streaming's doing that. It sounds really bad. But but the numbers don't really support those ideas, at least not yet. Because the Warner Brothers acquisition of Netflix is the Netflix acquisition of Warner Brothers is happening. So it remains to be seen how that's going to affect movie things.
Mm-hmm.
All we have about that so far is we do have, mostly speculation. But we do have some words from the higher-ups of Warner Brothers that have expressed the opinion that, hey, movies should be in the theater for, like, a month and get taken out. And be on Netflix immediately if we own Netflix. I'm like, if Netflix owns us, I'm like, I'm a little skeptical with the future of, the industry, mostly because of that. Mostly because something that's in the process of happening that we have not really felt the effects of yet. In terms of all the other streaming stuff, all the usual talking points, I have the data. I have a list of sources, which I'll link that in the comments below. You'll have access to all of them, all the articles I've researched to make this compilation of notes for our podcast. If you're so absolutely peruse through them, fact check them, look through them. If there's anything if any of these numbers I said happen to be wrong, then absolutely feel free to correct that. But the numbers I have managed to find in my time researching all this does not conclude that streaming is really hurting the movie industry. But the Warner Brothers Netflix thing just might. That might really hurt it. But while theaters are actually doing a lot better than you would expect, something that is doing a lot worse than you would expect is actually productions in our own country, productions in America.
Mm-hmm. Europe.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a big hotspot right now. Oh my god, dude. And you have separate outside of Hollywood that are doing really well, like China is doing really well.
Yes.
And and we get a lot more international films starting to make the mainstream zeitgeist.
We do,
which is great. You know what I'm saying? But state of Hollywood itself, like this year we had a good year because you said all like those Disney movies made $1 billion. But again, that's pirated off of old content, and it's pirated off of it's all pirated off of old content. It's like, bro, I'm so sorry. Yeah. So yeah, I was talking about what? How did I start off my sentence?
We're talking about how a lot of film studios are moving their productions to Europe.
Yeah, so essentially because in America, like certain areas like L.A. and New York, especially L.A. was very accommodating to films, and it still is. But they have to raise taxes, you know what I mean. And then you in Europe you can do everything's just cheaper essentially. And in other parts,
they have very generous tax rebates over there.
Exactly, it's very cheap. So what they do, they hire the crew and they fly out and they work out there and they hire other crew from there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they fill their productions that way. But at the end of the day, they're completely like saying fuck us because they get to save so much money. Because then it's still a business. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Because it's not like New York and LA, we both have very generous tax subsidies here already. But that isn't really enough, especially in places like LA, which has increased its permit fees.
Yep.
For shooting.
And the fires didn't make anything better.
True. The fires definitely made things worse.
Yeah.
But the sources I found on the subject did list the permit fees as having a bigger impact on that. So, which we see that there is like just less work going around because it's not just us struggling to get work because we like to work.
There's people in
the
the unit,
industry.
for example.
It's worse than this us.
For example, a friend of mine who I work with knows the grip for the movie. Well, weapons kind of small last year. No, it wasn't. It was fucking huge.
Yeah, big movie last year.
Big movie that is one of those sleeper hits that you didn't expect to hit, but it did.
Yeah, that made good money.
Made great money. It made solid budget, over 220 million off like what $40 million budget.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. Excellent returns. Damn, what the fuck I was just talking about? I was talking about.
We're talking about how people are starting at work, and
Yes,
you said you knew the grip. You knew a guy who knew the grip on that movie.
So I'm ready to point home. So this dude obviously think would be a big deal. He's the grip for a big movie. Guess what? He saw him like after the movie, doing a moving truck job. You know what I'm saying? Like, so think about it. Someone that's that high up on a big movie has to pivot for the moment being because it's that scarce right now.
It's bad.
It's bad. You know what I'm saying?
And for I know that's a personal anecdote, but for a real world number I did find about this subject, as of January 2025, shooting in LA has decreased over 22% from January 2023. 22%. Yes, 22%.
Yep.
And really think about how many people the film industry encompasses, how many people that is, how many between all your big ass crews, all the people that you're hiring for like catering and like and building shit and all that stuff.
One production employs 400 people plus vendors.
Yes, and now think over a fifth of all those people that work in all these movie sets or work adjacent to all these movie sets, they're all out of a job.
Yep,
that's crazy.
All these union people out of a job.
Yeah, because
they decided to pack up their shit and go somewhere cheaper.
Yeah, because if there's less shooting here, sure, some of them are lucky enough to get hired to fly to another country to take part in these. But most of these crews for a lot of these movies are going to be hired locals because it's a lot cheaper to hire people there than to fly every single person here. You usually just want your core team to be the people you know, and those are the people you pay for their flights. Your core team, maybe some people outside of that, and not that many people more.
Yeah. So it seems like what really is going on here is like because the industry, is starting to revamp. The problem is not too much work in America.
Yes,
that's the problem.
It is, which I think that does. I think like people. I know people are going to hear this and be like, "Hey, what does this have to do with streaming's effect on the industry?" But you have to keep in mind, Netflix, the biggest streaming service, has studios in other countries. And they make shows in other language, sometimes in other languages for those other countries. Like, for example, they have a German production studio, which they made shows like Dark and Barbarian. But Harrian, and I know, I don't know if they have a production studio in Japan, but I know they do acquire a lot of Japanese shows.
I mean, it was so much content in some shape or form.
Yeah,
that's what kind of sounds.
They made like a Norwegian show called Norseman. Fucking comedy.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah,
yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, I heard about that. Not bad. Yeah, I saw it on Netflix.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exactly, and they've produced and funded shows all across the world, and like hell, Warrior Nun was filmed in Spain, and parts of Cobra Kai last year were filmed in Spain.
Yeah, of course they did. Yeah.
Yeah, probably the same lot, frankly.
I say so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so since Netflix is a major movie provider now, that is an effect they're having on it, and we've seen other big companies also pivot because, like, I remember I want to say it was 2020. It was the same year that I forget which year did Fast X come out. Was that 22 or 23?
Fast X came out 2023.
Yeah, well, remember that same year that movie came out. We had a whole bunch of movies that took place, that had a scene that took place in Italy. Most notably, Mission Impossible 7, which that same year they both had near identical sequences in Italy about a car chase in Rome. I know, that's a big gap for two-parter.
Huge gap, yeah.
I mean, that's like, what, 5-year gap?
Fucking Spider-Man also.
Yeah, but yeah, 2 and 3 for Spider-Verse, yeah.
Yeah. But honestly, also there's huge things. Like, for example, Dune made like 711 million. Mm-hmm. Like a movie like that with that kind of coverage, that kind of viralness to it, from the popcorn buckets to the music to the worshiping the Lisa Al-Jeeb.
Yeah.
Timothy Chalamet. 2010, that would have made $1 billion. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
It would have been.
It was really good.
Likely.
I mean, dude, there's a really good chance.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because we era so much franchise. We had the teen dystopian, like Divergent, Hunger Games. You know what I'm saying? And then you have the MCU, you have all the Disney stuff,
yeah,
live action remakes. You have so much huge franchises You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm very curious how much franchise fatigue plays into this, if it plays into it at
And
all.
the thing is, I don't think we're giving credit to really where it's due. I think it's really that, because that changed the perception. It's a mix of, it's a cocktail thing. So that's the first stone, was MCU and Disney releasing, because they changed the game to IP.
Mm-hmm.
To make people excited about seeing these characters come to life and do this and do that. That we don't give a shit who's playing these actors.
Not really. I mean, people get excited, but this person's playing that, but that won't. That doesn't translate to ticket sales at all.
The actors are just part of the aesthetics now. You know,
they are.
They don't stand out no more. I'm not going to see this. It's like, hey, I want to see this movie because I want to see this movie because this person is here doing this.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. Like
we
nowadays, it's more about, I care about who's making it, what's the film's about, and that's good. But it's just going to change the fabric of what films are, because now it's the IP is no longer in the actor itself. It's about what we do, and then what they do. This causes the way, like, the industry likes, the brain likes to work. It's like, I'm just gonna milk this for every single last drop, and I'm just gonna keep remaking it, and everything's gonna be unoriginal, and the quality's gonna dip. And then once that fully dips, then no one's gonna give a shit.
Yeah. Which is very similar to how Hollywood has worked in the past, which we did go over that in more detail in our Death of the Movie Star podcast we did years ago. Yeah, but basically, it's the cycle of Hollywood. Yeah, they find something that's big and trendy, they milk it to the ground, they find something. Indie films become more popular, and then Hollywood finds something else. Yeah. That it's the cycle of Hollywood, and it is what it is. And frankly, I do think you're right. I think the whole Disney has hurt the modern movie landscape more than streaming has. Given these numbers,
changed the brain for what it's about. Could they focus on the huge franchise that kids can see, that's gonna make money? But they kind of killed the golden goose, because the thing about it was big, because even like you had to kind of do, it's almost like a rite of passage to do a superhero film. You go do a superhero film, you blow through that, and then you become a star.
Yeah,
you know, so it kind of helped out in that way too. But essentially, it dominated too much. That's the problem.
It did,
because you're treating it as like, I need to win, instead of like the ecosystem needs to win. You know what I'm saying? So now they change the brain and how that works. It's automatically gonna. Yeah, it just changed everything.
It did. And it did. In Disney and the other corporations, they've all followed that same mindset. They was like, hey, what's the most awful franchise? Let's make more shit with that. Let's make all the money in the world. Let's all do that. And and these people will just do all of these things. It's corporations. Yeah, it's corporations being too greedy.
It's a creative industry, and you too much business brain in it. That's what the brain and the creativity don't usually mix well.
And I think that's a big reason why people become more cynical about the movie industry, is because we have more. I think it's just easier to have more cynical mindsets when you see, Disney's making like the 40th Avengers movie. No.
Yeah, because now we have a whole internet pantheon to see a whole bunch of different comments. We have Rotten Tomatoes that can tell you exactly what to think about the movie before you watch it. You know what I mean? It's so much that's going into it.
Yeah.
You know?
Admittedly, that stuff all was established over a decade ago, but yes.
Still, it plays.
Yes.
It plays in.
Still does.
Yeah.
Still does. Because because people check nowadays, like, okay, is this movie good? Yeah. No. Not gonna bother. They said it was bad. So that's not gonna bother.
At one point, it's like if your Rotten Tomatoes score wasn't high, I wasn't seeing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I assume that was a lot of people. I assume that was a lot of people's perspective, like, for a while.
It was, and that did lead to some movies failing. Like After Earth failed for that reason.
Yep.
But Batman v Superman failed for that reason. I mean, sure, those movies weren't good, but they definitely would have earned more money if it wasn't for Rotten Tomatoes and the internet. Frankly, if it was just word of mouth, then they definitely wouldn't.
It gets people to tell, because the movies are gonna lie to you, make it seem like it's the greatest thing ever. But you can see, like, behind the curtains, this may be a faulty product.
Yeah, and we're so used to being lied to all the time that we just we don't take these promises seriously. They feel empty because they are empty, and we see them as empty because it's the truth.
Exactly, beautifully said. Yeah, so it's like a really myriad of things that contribute to this. Like, streaming doesn't help, but streaming, it really is its own bag. You know what I mean? Like people can still go to the theaters. It's really about, they're not making it here because they're trying to save money. You know?
Yeah, streaming has as the numbers have showed us, streaming has affected the movie industry, but not in the ways that you would immediately think.
Yeah.
Because in terms of ticket sales and stuff, they're up to really respectable numbers.
Yeah, because it dipped, of course, from COVID, and then it started to rise back up.
Yeah, and now we are very and in 2023 we got pretty damn close to hitting that all-time high of 2019.
Yeah,
Pretty
there's a
close.
few films like Disney came back in, but the problem is what these same movies making $1 billion, a huge IP, which is fine, but you gotta do that in like spurts. You can't do that. You can't make that the industry, and that's what they fucked up. They made that the industry.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So yeah, and again, since this is a focus on streaming, how streaming has really affected the film industry is more so in production, because because as we talked about, a lot of these European countries like Hungary, Croatia, and Italy have tax rebates of at least 30% or higher, and Malta goes up to fucking 40, and they're like, oh wow, look at all these savings, let's go film here, these places are beautiful, we can do this.
Yeah.
Screw all the hardworking American filmmakers. We're just gonna take our chosen ones and dump them over another country and hire their
You're
locals.
always gonna want the film industry. That's what the Apple just did with F1. You know what I mean? It's the prestige, just the way the stories are told. You can't beat it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you really can't beat it. It gives you a once in a lifetime kind of thing. Yeah, movies get a little repetitive, sure, especially in this day and age. But I mean, like, the uniqueness. So you can't really replicate it.
yeah, which is why I really hate how much the Netflix CEO is in prisons are downplaying theaters.
You can't. It never could, because it's a different experience in TV. It's like you're going to the huge screen, audience behind you. You know what I'm saying? It's enhancing. It's a whole different vibe. You know what I'm saying?
It was like the movie viewing experience is a shared part of culture that we all have experienced.
You go on a date, you go with friends. Yeah, you could do similar things at home, but it's not the same, really.
Yeah.
It's too much. The whole point is not that much access. You know what I'm saying? But they think about blitzing the market, money. No, take your time. You know what I'm saying? It's not easy access. That's what I'm loving the indie boom, because indie boom that's kind of rewiring the brain, because now we're in a need for something so much more creatively fulfilling and enriching, instead of just the typical run of the mill bullshit that's gonna think that you're gonna think is just gonna hook everyone because it's a huge name behind it. You know what I mean? It creates we're seeing it for what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just corny. It's just corny. It's just fucking corny. That's, you know what I mean? Like, nothing really else to add to it. It's really just fucking corny, and it's essentially, even though you made a lot of money, it broke the industry in half. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, and of course, COVID didn't help. You know what I mean? Releasing movies the same day as it comes on streaming definitely fucked up.
Yeah. That most definitely contributed to that low number 2020.
That definitely contributed to decline, but really, you could say streaming movies are separate from like mainstream movies. They still make mainstream movies. Streaming movies are just crap. So
Usually, yeah.
It's high quality but low quality at the same time. You know?
Which makes it sad when we do have high quality movies that don't make it into fucking theaters. Like Frankenstein didn't make it into theaters. I hate that.
Yeah, they are trying to get into the more theatrical world, but but they are beautiful films. Example, Frankenstein. Great movies like Marriage Story. You know what I mean? So like, even streaming services are not making these kind of movies. That's when it's a little panicky.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like when they actually making these like kind of solid films, because like these should be given a chance and let it go theatrical. Let it play against yourself. You know what I'm saying? And then you need the movies is such a core piece of the culture.
It is.
Apex.
Because ultimately the demographic for people who watch movies at home and the people who watch movies in theaters has a lot of overlap, but they are still two separate markets and should be viewed as such. Because a lot of people are willing to go out and spend that money and go have that experience. And by just prioritizing, and by like Netflix CEO prioritizing just the home experience and not the theater experience, you're cutting yourself out of a massive source of potential revenue. Which is why I really hope they don't actually stick to that once the acquisition of Warner Brothers gets. Well, I know it is finalized, but once it's like fully complete, I mean.
Sure.
And like that is something I'm worried about. But hey, again, remains to be seen. Things could change by then. The whole thing is probably still going to be 100% go through. I think at this point it's too late to really stop it. But yeah, there's things to worry about. Yeah. Streaming has a mixed effect on movies, as the numbers have showed us. But I think what the main thing to take away from these numbers is that streaming can absolutely coexist with theaters.
Yeah, so because it's a home theater, you watch shows, in terms of high quality movies, it has to be
Yeah.
that experience.
And that's what these that's what the story of these numbers are telling me. That's what they're telling me, that you can have that we can have our two cakes. We can have this industry and that industry and love them both.
It's getting the people to yeah, exactly. Like,
They just need to stop fucking vampirizing each other.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, it's time. It's time to change back. So I love the indie boom. It's time to change back the narrative. It's of Hollywood. You know what I mean? It's trying to revert things back to essentially its golden era, where you can make original films. You know what I'm saying? And care about that. Actually, films or the filmmakers medium. At least like people like Tarantino. You know what I mean? Christopher Nolan. Like their names alone is selling asses and seats. You know what I'm saying? Because nowadays we care more about the movies, and then other aspects of social media helps us really understand, like, oh yeah, to look more into movies, and I mean like to expect more from it. Yeah. And then we've seen so much that's like, I'm tired of the same old thing. So we're craving something different. Any other human, we're craving something unique. You know what I mean? So that's why no one gives a shit. And
we're
also
craving something less corporate.
Yeah, exactly. And what really compelled is MCU specifically, because it did so well. And then when it started doing bad and making bad movies, that's like the whole reason I'm going to the theater. So why the hell? Yeah. So I have no more motivation. That's the real class.
Exactly. Like, we have trained people to think that if X is good, then Y must be bad, which is not the. If X is bad, then Y is also bad. Yeah. When that's not the case, because Disney floundering has nothing to do with what everyone else is doing. Not at all. There are still way better movies coming out.
Yeah. You know. So like Spielberg, for example, is releasing a movie this year about like what aliens or whatever else. But like, yeah, he is. If he wasn't attached to it, that movie probably wouldn't make anything, because who knows what that movie's about. You know.
Likely, yeah. I think the reason why we're seeing, because we have talked about this topic before, like how directors have effectively replaced movie stars in our Death of the Movie Star podcast. But the more I've been thinking about it, the more I think maybe a potential underlying reason for that is we are hoping for a less corporate feeling experience from them than what a lot of these big studios have.
Yeah, because you force them to trust the creative process instead of, hey, I have to hit this amount. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have to hit this
because the Marvel
hit this demographic.
Yeah, because Disney movies, they feel corporate as fuck. Yeah. Marvel feels
corporate
as shit.
A lot of friends I know, this regular industry thinks it's soulless.
Yeah,
but there's some people that I know that love it, so it's really kind of polarizing.
It is. I mean, again, like, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with loving things that are corporate, things that are soulless, like anything Marvel or Disney, but I'm just calling it like I see it. I do think that they do have like an inherent humanness that something by an auteur would make, like your Spike Lees or your Tarantinos or all this stuff.
Like, what's the next thing they're making? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Rather than, it's just Tom Cruise. I'm gonna see it because Tom Cruise is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, he has some bops, so it might be.
Exactly. That's the old way of thinking that has died. The way of the movie star is passé. It is dead and buried. We might never ever get that way again, because frankly, I think people have gotten too smart now. I think people realize. I think the modern audience is like, hey, a good performance is not going to make the movie good if the actual movie itself is bad. They know better. They know now that all that weighs more on the director and the director's main cronies. They're heads of all the departments. Those are your big people who are really making this movie together. And that's why people look at the director like, oh, you're the guy in charge. That's you. Yep. Exactly. Which is a little misleading, but is mostly true. Because they are a huge part responsible for why a movie is the way it is. Because ideally everything is their call, unless, of course, studios butt their heads in. Which sometimes they do, but in smaller independent movies, they usually don't. Or a Tarantino movie usually doesn't. But yeah. That is speculation as to why I think that is the way it is. But, feel free to speculate against me if you're not a fan of what I just said, or if you do something you disagree, or if you think I'm overstepping. By all means, leave it in the comments below. I'm not. It is what it is. I'm calling it as I see it, as I'm interpreting the data, as I'm interpreting the way people think. I just think that is why things are the way they are, and I'm going to stop talking before I keep going in circles, because I can tell I'm about to.
Yeah, but honestly, nothing you're saying is wrong regarding to this specific scenario, because it's easy to look at the stats. I did first and be like, oh yeah, streaming was ruining it, but no, it's this influx of like your crown jewel is starting to make bad movies, so why should I give a fuck? And the other movies are making not that great, you know what I mean? But some good ones, even those have problems. It's like it's a concoction of like this is not the best, you know what I mean?
Like really, yeah, exactly. I think it's a healthy mixture of Hollywood movies being inconsistent, of bad fucking awful marketing that very rarely has some really good highlights, and also general cynicism from the average consumer.
Yeah, exactly.
I think those are your three biggest contributors to why things are the way they are. And as for what streaming is directly affecting, it is mostly behind the scenes shit that affects people working in the industry and less so much people actually watching movies.
Yeah.
Again, that's what the data tells me. Those are conclusions I'm drawing from it. All the data, all these notes, and all the links from the sources that I got, that I made these notes from, all linked in the comments below. So go down, click on it if you want. Feel free to fact check me. It's all there. I'm not hiding anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Is there more that we have to say, or can we start wrapping things up?
I think we start wrapping things up because I think we got the core point. Because even at first, I was like, "Oh, like no, streaming fucked up," but it's like, no, actually, doesn't really have that much effect as much you think it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes, it does offer different alternatives, but like if you go to theaters like Alamo, you know what I mean, like where it caters, you know what I mean, it's always packed up. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Compared to some regular baseline.
Mm-hmm.
So it also helps too. They're having a great theater experience in the best place possible.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But it's like you don't get the same experience. You need like it's not something better than watching a movie that could capture your heart and soul. You know what I mean? Like movies in theaters. You know what I mean? Going to the theaters, having an experience on a date, friend. It's like you know, it's memorable, man. It's like you're taking away what makes something so special, and the uniqueness, and you're prioritizing comfort and accessibility. And then so what you're doing, you're diminishing the quality of art. And that's going to tarnish the product over time.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And it's going to make it not valuable.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what they did. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
They get harped on this one thing, abusing this product, and now that product is worthless.
Yeah.
MCU, so now what? The whole thing is worthless. No one gives a shit about movies. You know what I'm saying? So, you know,
yeah,
and that's really the problem.
Exactly. I think that's a big reason why people are so cynical about the industry, about movies coming out.
Yeah.
And I think a big part of that is also people hear movie as art and they accept movies art, but they don't really think about what that means.
Yeah, movies literally is art. It's
literally artistic expression, and I feel like both corporations and your more average consumers are both looking movies more as products, with corporations looking at them as products to sell, and average consumer looking at it as something to entertain me. Like, this is my fun box. This is my time for joy. It's something for me.
Well, it is. It's a combination of everything that we said, because in a way it is a product that is, from the corporate brain, it's essentially a product. It's like a person that's a singer. Like what I do is the product. I make the music, I sing it. I make the music and I sell it. An actor, I sell myself. I do my services is my performance to enhance this movie. And, you know what I mean? What way I can. So everything in art is a product in that way, but it's also art in a way that it has to, you get to respect the process behind it, because it's all about getting the right ingredients to make this. And one bad ingredient can spoil the whole dish. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know,
on top of that, it's also about artistic expression and trying to convey ideas and themes and stuff.
And you need to allow people to do that, and you can't corrupt what they're trying to do because you need something to hit something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I need this film to hit this market and to do this. Now you're corrupting the art. So you're sacrificing what could have been something, saying something about something, into your propaganda machine, whatever it is, to sell toys, to sell whatever, you know what I mean?
Yes.
To sell ideas that you want to perpetuate, whatever it is, you know what I mean? That's why it makes sense to, for example, like what Warner Bros. Did for DC's. Let the creative people handle their shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And I think that's why the few things we've seen out of DC Studios has been a lot better than the stuff that Disney has been putting out.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I do feel James Gunn's authorial voice. I do feel him like he is an auteur. I'm seeing his vision. I'm getting it. He has a lot to say about a lot of subjects, and he's making that come through his characters, and it feels like it's coming from a real place.
Create, and a lot of studios don't get that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. They're too busy focusing on their bottom line. They're not actually focusing on what makes a movie good.
Yeah.
They think, we just need a lot of flashy effects. We need some gimmicks. We need some things. No, you don't really need any of those things. What you really need, you need heart, soul, and basic competence. You need to tell your story well. You need to convey your ideas well, and you need to have an emotional follow through that most people will enjoy going through. That's what you need.
Yeah,
that's how you make good art. That's how you express the feelings from the soul while also earning a profit.
Exactly, because when you allow so many successful auteurs that make their money,
mm-hmm.
you know, that makes so much profitable movies. You have to let them. Also, reason why actors go and direct and they make great movies, you have to let the creatives be the creatives. You know what I'm saying? You cannot interrupt. I know you are a suit. I know you're funding it, but you have to let the people that you're paying for do what they do.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And then you market the final product. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I think that's ultimately what's going on with all these studios. They're not trusting. They're not trusting people to make the people working under them to do their own thing.
Yeah,
there's not.
And now that the other things came into to further not help, it just made things 10 times worse.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it. That's essentially the core idea. It's not necessarily the streaming is affecting the industry. It's because the movies, you know what I'm saying, the quality of films, you know what I'm saying, and the structure of abusing IP instead of favoring original ideas. You know what I mean? Because things I said it from go, you're gonna abuse MCU until it's gonna be completely dull. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, many would argue it's already at that point.
Exactly, it is. You know what I mean? Hence why there's been a dip in box office. It's starting to come back, so that proves that people want to go to the movies. You just got to give them something worth one to watch.
Exactly,
that's the problem. You know what
And
I mean?
and as we went over the past. There are movies out there worth watching. We're just not marketing them because we're idiots.
So much movies are under-marketed. You know what I mean?
Yes. Like, sure, Marty Supreme got good marketing, but how many other fucking mini movies got that kind of marketing? None of them.
And they barely even utilize social media. They do a couple of videos. You gotta, when freaking Deadpool came out, Hugh and freaking Ryan did fucking everything. You know what I'm saying? You got to get the word out, especially since you're in this fucking gully. You gotta get the fucking word out.
Yeah.
Get people excited to see this shit.
So few movies get even a fraction of that treatment. Like, come on. You need to do more. You're not doing enough with the marketing. You need to integrate more social media marketing. You need to put more effort into your marketing.
Exactly.
You need
like
to have
Barbenheimer,
more.
You know?
Exactly.
Good movies need great marketing to get people excited. Yo, I'm a man, but I'm gonna wear paint to see this movie. Not everyone's gonna do that. You know
exactly. You can't keep relying on just release a trailer every month or two.
No, you gotta do what Martin Supreme did. You gotta hit that niche. You gotta hit that freaking mark. You know?
Yeah, and of course, not everything's going to have the gimmicky appeal of watching two very different movies the same day.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if those movies sucked, or if even one of them sucked, then you would have seen a very different story, and Barbenheimer would have not been the success it was.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyways, I think that's about all we have to say on this particular subject.
Yeah.
I think we're starting, because like the more we go on, the more I notice we're kind of
evening
away. At this point, we're very far removed from streaming stuff like the film industry, the topic of the discussion, but that's fine. That's fine. It led us to more topics, and I'm sure we're going to revisit all these topics in the future. Did
we exhaust anything? Are you missing any points specifically about streaming?
No.
Yeah, that's what I think we got to the bottom of it. Because the whole point, really, to me, is essentially what's the problem. In a sense, what's the problem with the film industry? Because we could be thinking, oh, is it streaming that's killing the industry? It's really not.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what it's really about. Like I think that's just because how it's streaming killing the film industry.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody it's gonna be like, is it? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the point. And I think we kind of like through this, we got down to the nitty gritty of like what's really the problem here.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And it's and I think we kind of hit it on its head.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Hopefully inform people on like what's really happening here.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So since we did that, it's about time we start wrapping things up.
Yeah.
So with that being said, folks, please let us know what you thought about this podcast here, about what you've heard from us. I'm very eager to hear any of your thoughts or opinions on the comments below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think we did a good job? Please, Whatever you have to say, leave it down there.
Good job with Schmug Up. I mean, good job, not good job. The point is that I want you to tell us in the comments if you want to engage. Where do you think the industry is at right now? Do you think there's a future for it? Do you think it's not a future for it? Do you think you're going to get replaced by AI? I disagree with
very different topic discussion.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure.
Well, no, it's more about where you think the film industry is at. Do you like do you think we're fucked? Do you think we're in a good spot? Do you think it's going to get better? You know what I'm saying? Do you agree that streaming is going to take over completely, especially with the whole deal with Netflix and Warner's? You know what I'm saying? Like what is your view on that? Do you think films could thrive in this ever changing environment?
Yeah. Yeah. And also, please hit the like, subscribe button, and the notification bell so update of all of our new videos. Keep an eye out, folks. This is a lot more.
Stay tuned. We got more podcasts and more films. So hit the notification bell. Stay up to date. Stay tuned.